hello everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Hate Live. Welcome to, sorry I'm looking because I just got a pop-up message that we're dropping frames on the stream. I already talked to the stream about that. Welcome to the holiday 2014 edition of Hate Live. I'm Darkside Phil, and we've got a great episode lined up for you guys today. I want to thank you if you are here live on the stream. I do apologize if you are seeing frame drops. It looks like, unfortunately, my internet is acting pretty wonky tonight. The stream earlier today was fine. Now all of a sudden my internet wants to be wonky. I apologize. I wish I could fix it. It is what it is. Keep in mind that you can also be watching this on demand on YouTube on the King of Hate vlog. So if you're having any issues watching it live, you can always watch it on demand there later. Okay? So, thanks very much for being here. Great episode we've got lined up for you guys this week. I'm really excited that it is the week before Christmas. As you guys know, I love Christmas. I love the holiday season. I love everything about it. The decorations. I actually love the food, the celebrations, the traditional stuff that happens around this time of year when it comes to things like holiday specials on TV and movies and music. And I've been pretty much kind of in the feel of it, the flow of it for the past several weeks. In fact, we've been listening to Christmas music every night. It plays on our television and, watching Christmas movies. We've only got like one or two Christmas specials left. We've pretty much almost watched all of them. Which I know, it's like, wow, what the hell? We went through probably about over a dozen or more Christmas-related movies or specials that we've been watching here together. And when I say we, of course, I mean myself and Leanna. But I hope that you've been enjoying this time as well, the build up to Christmas. Christmas is in 1 week, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, 1 week from today, it will be Christmas. So I hope that you're getting all your last-minute things together, your shopping, your plans with your families, meals. Everyone's getting travel plans and everything together. I hope that you guys are enjoying the season, okay? And again, I apologize. Wow, we are having big frame drops on the stream tonight. It looks like we're just going to have it, and that's it. Watch it. If it really bothers you, please watch the video on demand on YouTube later tonight, okay? So, let's talk. Let's stop being derailed by the fucking stream delay over here. And we've got so much to talk about this week. I mean, I honestly, originally last week when I said I wanted to do a holiday special, but I didn't, I was thinking, gee, should I talk about holiday-related stuff? And I was like, well, wait a minute, I did that last year. If you guys didn't see it, a year ago on Hate Live, I literally did a holiday special where I talked all about my family's holiday traditions and stuff like that. And I was thinking, gee, what could I do? And then I said, well, you know what I could do? We could talk about worldwide holiday traditions, and we could talk about lesser-known Christmas traditions in the United States that a lot of people don't know about. And we could kind of compare and say, wow, this is some really interesting things worldwide. So we are going to have a whole segment tonight about the holidays, about holidays around the world, Christmas around the globe, and all the different things that different places do to celebrate. Some of which you're probably going to be like, what the hell? Because when I read it, I was like, what the flip? Like, seriously. So we're going to have that. We're also, of course, as usual, we're going to talk about what I've been up to recently. We're going to talk about all the games that I've been playing. Finally, this week, some other stuff completed, which was good, and we were able to move on to some new content. We were able to start a new playthrough today, which we're going to talk about. It was really good, the turnout, people really enjoying it. We're going to talk about the schedule adjusting a little bit in the coming days, because there's a little bit of an adjustment based off of today and the feedback that I'm getting that I think I'm going to adjust my schedule coming up in the near future. Okay? We're going to talk about game news. There's tons of stuff that happened in the gaming world this past week that a lot of people are all buzz about that we should definitely discuss. We're going to talk about non-gaming news, so things that just happened in the world, worldwide events. And we've got hacking, we've got terrorism, we've got threats, we've got all kinds of stuff that's happened. And yeah, I know, it's the holiday special, it's the week before Christmas, but that doesn't mean that we just ignore all the negative and we only talk about positive, happy-go-lucky stuff. No, we got to talk about world news. That's really what Hate Live is about. When something big and major happens that I feel is something that's pertinent to talk about, that's what we do on Hate Live, and that's what we're going to be doing tonight, okay? So really, we should basically have about 2 hours, I'm thinking, of a podcast. If we go a little bit short, what I may actually do is near the end try to take some Q&A from the stream chat like we did last time. However, I'm not guaranteeing that because, like I said, I've got a lot of stuff to talk about just in itself that I think really is going to be interesting to you guys, including 2015, some changes I'm making. I've got a brand new series that I've decided I'm definitely doing that I want to kind of reveal. I've only talked about it really on Twitter up to now. Okay. So, and yes, again, I see people complaining on the stream chat. I'm sorry, guys. It's my internet. I don't know what to tell you. My internet is not being very nice tonight. Okay. So let's talk. Let's actually talk about everything that's been going on. First and foremost, let's go ahead and let's talk about all the stuff that I've been up to this past week since Last Hate Live. Okay, first of all, Last Hate Live, for whatever reason, it was the first one in a month. I addressed a lot of stuff that had been kind of lingering there for the month when I was just busy playing games, and we had a great multiple segments about all kinds of fun and interesting stuff, and it ended up being the most viewed Hate Live in 1 week of the past year. That's right, in the entire past year that I've been doing the Hate Live podcast, and especially since I moved to the new place here in Washington, it was the most popular podcast I've done. Now, I don't know if that's because I specifically addressed certain topics. I don't know if it's just because I hadn't done a Hate Live, in a month's time, and people were craving that rather than just gameplay. But for whatever reason, it ended up doing particularly well. And I want to say thank you to everyone who attended live, everyone who watched it on YouTube. Just thank you, because that means, awesome. It's an awesome thing. It means that you guys are liking this kind of content, all right? And there's an interesting statistic that I was actually trying to pay attention to. This past week, I was looking into some certain things regarding YouTube, and there's actually a certain person who's been in contact with me talking to me about YouTube statistics and stuff over the past several years and suggestions to improve my tags and things, and even offered if I hired this person that they would try to do something with the algorithms of my videos as they uploaded, that they get more views and stuff. And I never really paid attention to that stuff. If you guys know, I really don't pay attention to any of that stuff. For me, it's like, I'm going to create the content, I'm going to put it on YouTube, I'm not even going to really promote it that much. If people like it, they'll watch, and if they don't, they won't. And, up to, my whole existence on YouTube, that's pretty much been the standard, where you don't see me constantly asking for subs, you don't see me constantly asking for thumbs up, you don't see me say, watch this all the time, you don't see me doing a lot of the promotional and cross-promotional things that other YouTubers do. I've never really done. I never adopted those practices. And I think it sets me apart, but at the same time, I know for a fact that there's been missed opportunities when it comes to, my popularity. Simply because I don't do those things. But anyway, this person in particular wrote me and said, Phil, were you aware that your vlogging channel in the past year is doing way better? That you got a bunch of new subs. If you actually look on the views on average of all the videos on your vlogging channel, that your views have gone up. And do you have any idea why that would be? And I was like, well, I mean, because people maybe like to see me talk, or I don't know. It's actually absolutely true. If you look at the end of last year, the end of 2013 versus this year, my vlogs are doing way better. Like, some of them are doing double as well as they did last year. I don't know why, okay? And he's like, I think I know why. Did you know that in early 2013 that YouTube completely changed their algorithms so that basically videos that get more watch time become more featured and or show up at the top of search results? And at first I was like, I don't even know what that means. You know what I mean? Like, more watch time overall. What is that? What could that possibly even mean? Right? And so I'm thinking about it in my head, and I'm like, what exactly does this entail, watch time? And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, watch time basically means the amount of time, the engagement on a video. So, for example, if you're watching videos, okay, and you're watching a 2-hour vlog or a podcast, chances are you're going to watch that podcast for a longer period of time than a gameplay video. If a gameplay video on average is 15 to 20 minutes long, and a podcast is 2 hours long, you're probably going to watch the podcast for a longer period of time than a gameplay video, and more people are going to probably do that, and because of that, it shows longer engagement. Now, this makes no sense to me, and the reason that this makes no sense to me is, shouldn't YouTube base it off of overall? And what I mean by that is, so my podcast is 2 hours long, and it gets, I don't know, let's say it gets 8 to 10,000 views every week, right? So 8 to 10,000 people watch 2 hours of footage, is a certain number of minutes watched, okay? Now, if I start a new playthrough, and the playthrough starts 15 to 20,000 views on part 1, and part 1 is only 10 minutes long. So 15 to 20,000 people watch the 10-minute long video, okay, versus 11,000 people watch the 2-hour long video. YouTube says by default that the 2-hour long video is more popular, and if you search, it'll show up higher above in search results than the shorter video, simply because people watched it longer. That makes no freaking sense to me. But apparently, from what I've been explained about YouTube, that yeah, this is what they've done. They actually changed the way that everything on YouTube works as of early 2013. And it's funny that that's mentioned, because in early 2013, I noticed something. And you guys, if you're longtime viewers, you know that I've got a few videos out there that have over 1 million views. In fact, one of my most popular videos ever was my Spider-Man Web of Shadows playthrough, which was one of my very first game playthroughs that I ever did on YouTube. And the ending, the final couple parts, all have like millions and millions of views, all right? And it was because of the old YouTube system, the way that YouTube used to work. You type it in, oh, if it got views, and it's the title and everything, it matched what you search, it pops up, right? Well, every month, if you actually looked historically at my results, you know, on YouTube, every month you would look at it, and you would say, oh, wow, every month, even though I'm not promoting these videos, even though I'm not talking about them, there were certain videos from DSP Gaming, which is my current gaming channel, and certain videos from Dark Side Phil, my old gaming channel, that would still get like 20, 30, 40,000 views a month, even though it was an ancient playthrough and I never mentioned it. And it really was because it used to be that if you type in certain criteria, you'll get what you look for. If I want to see what's the most popular Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions playthrough ever, you type that in, it'll show up, my video would show up and people would watch it. Now, that's not the case anymore. YouTube changed it, so if you say, I want to see, I'm trying to think of a game that I played like way in the past. BioShock. I want to see someone's BioShock 1 playthrough. And you just type in BioShock, it's actually going to give you a playthrough first for someone who just made longer videos. So if someone played BioShock and had an hour-long video, that would show up in search results above someone who had more views. Really. And it all makes sense to me now. It really does. It all makes sense to me now. Because I was thinking back to those videos. I was like, damn, I had that Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, Spider-Man Web of Shadows, Resident Evil. There were these videos that every month, no matter what, got views because of the way that YouTube search worked. You would get the most popular ones in the search. Not anymore. As of, April last year, they turned that off. And if I actually looked, I told you guys about a year ago about this. I looked and all of a sudden, those videos don't get views at all anymore. They don't show up in the search anymore. They're gone. It's like they're buried under a pile of YouTube stuff. So that's why I honestly think that this vlogging channel is doing better, because the videos that I put on here traditionally when you're seeing the Week in Preview is a half an hour long. Hate Live, 2 hours long. Ask the King. Those videos are what, 30 minutes to an hour long each. So the longer the video, apparently the better the search results, and overall you get more popularity on YouTube now. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, damn, maybe that's one of the reasons why people over the past couple of years have adopted longer gameplay videos. It could be, right? It absolutely could be the reason. They found out about this, or they were looking for it. Maybe that's what happened. Wait a minute, someone says that I'm streaming on DSP Gaming, which I am not. What? I am most certainly not streaming on DSP Gaming, guys, because my other streaming software is closed. So there's no chance whatsoever that YouTube thinks that I am streaming on DSP Gaming, just so you guys know, because some people are trying to figure out why is there stream lag. Yeah, no. I'm looking right now. Nope. That's not what it is. So again, I apologize for frame drops if you're watching this on the stream, everybody. It's just going to be one of those nights, I guess, okay? Okay, so, whoa, I mean, and how does that even make sense when you really think about it? So the longer video gets more priority in a YouTube search and therefore will get more popularity and more views. Makes no sense. Who cares how long a video is? It should be about the content of the video, right? But then, to make matters even worse, right? I don't know how many of you know this, and I've been actually talking about this to a few people on Twitter the past week, because there's still some people who are maybe relatively new to my content, and they say, Phil, why is it that when you upload gameplay throughs that you tend to do shorter videos? And what I mean by that is, okay, when I do a gameplay video, it's 10 minutes to 15 to 20 minutes, and I've been trying, quite honestly, I have been trying recently, except for the case of like Street Fighter or whatever, I've actually been trying to do longer gameplay videos overall. And what I mean by that is, I'm trying to go around 15 to 20 minutes per gameplay video. And sometimes I screw up and I do a really short video, and sometimes I screw up and I do a really long video. But overall, I am trying to make my content a little bit longer because people have been asking for that for a long time. Now, overall, why do people want longer videos? There's two reasons, quite honestly. Number one, because the big YouTubers do it. Yeah, those big YouTubers who they upload 2 videos a day, an hour of footage a day, and they get 2 million views. Yeah, they can upload 2 videos a day of a half an hour to an hour long footage because they're getting millions of views on each fucking video. I mean, I was around before them. I was around before the biggest gaming YouTubers right now ever existed, and I was making game playthroughs. I was doing short clips because guess what? Back then, you couldn't even do clips longer than 10 minutes on YouTube. You were limited to a 10-minute clip because YouTube was designed as a website to show short clips. Which goes hand in hand with my second point, number 2. When you upload long videos to YouTube, they screw up all the time. Case in point, perfect case in point. This past Sunday, I played Street Fighter 4 Omega Mode. This is this new DLC free mode for everyone to basically play Street Fighter. This new mode of Street Fighter that Capcom, it's like the last hurrah for Street Fighter 4. I did a half an hour video of me sitting in training mode and using multiple characters in training mode, and then I played a bunch of matches that probably lasted 3 to 5 minutes each. All of the matches showed up first, even though I uploaded them second. And those videos, those half-hour-long videos, took 4.5 hours to show up on YouTube. Now, that's not just me. That's not just my capture software. This has happened with multiple capture softwares. Back when I used to use my camera, not capture software. This is par for the course for YouTube and always has been. YouTube doesn't like long videos. When you upload any video that's like longer than 15 minutes to YouTube, the website has all these problems. It gets hung up in processing. It gets hung up here and there. Sometimes it'll publish, but not. So it'll show up like it's like a 380p video, but then the HD version doesn't show up for 7 hours. All these issues happen when you make long videos on YouTube. And I've noticed it firsthand with Hate Live this past 2 years that I've done Hate Live. It takes forever to show up. Tonight, I have no clue when this will actually show up on YouTube. Zero. I have zero clue. And, that sucks. It sucks that I have no clue when my content will show up. I have no control over it. I'm at the mercy of YouTube. So when people constantly say to me, Phil, why do you upload shorter gameplay videos? Other big Let's Players and YouTubers do 30-minute to an hour-long gameplay clips, and you only do 10 to 15 minutes. It's quite simple. Number one, because I have a business that was based off of 10 to 15-minute gameplay clips. The reason that I've been able to do this for a living is because I upload 10 to 15-minute gameplay clips. I've done it since day one. I did it before the other YouTubers. So, yeah, if I had gone viral, and if I had done all the extra promotion shit, and if I heavily edited my gameplay videos like these guys do, and if I screamed at a face cam to get cheap attention, like all these YouTubers do that are popular, then if I had a huge viewer base, I could say, okay, let's do half an hour to hour-long videos. But I don't. You guys know my style. I've been the only person to really do the most raw gameplay style since 2008. I play games, I have fun with them, or I rage at them. It's raw, unedited footage. You choose whether or not you want to watch the whole playthrough or go to a part that you like. Since last year, I've instituted a change where I now literally specially tag and name every video. So if you read it and you say, it sounds like this is a boring side content for a game, I'll skip that video. But then you see a boss fight, and you go, I want to watch the boss fight, you can do that for yourself, okay? That's why I did that. But I can't overnight change my gameplay videos from 10 minutes to 40 minutes. That would mean 1/4 of the amount of videos, and guess what? That doesn't mean that all of a sudden my viewers are going to quadruple. Literally overnight, I would go out of business, all right? So that's why, and that's the honest answer of why, I basically don't do that. All right, it's a really honest, genuine answer. That is the reason. In addition, I game on a daily basis more than pretty much anyone who's my direct competition, and I upload more videos on a daily basis than anyone who's my direct competition. So, for example, again, these people who, but they only upload 2 videos a day and they're an hour long. Yeah, okay, 2 hours of video footage a day. My first stream alone is 3 to 4 hours long. My second stream is 2 hours, and all that footage goes live, plus usually a vlog. So you're talking 5 to 6 hours, if not more, of gameplay a day that goes live on my channel. Do you really think that I could sit there with all these videos that are half an hour to an hour long just sitting and processing, locked up? And ideally, that's the problem. ideally, that is the problem, is that I am uploading more than anyone else, and I want to get it out as soon as possible because you know the next day you're getting more content of that game or whatever. You want to watch it as soon as possible so you're caught up for the continuation of that gameplay through. And it wouldn't work. If I were doing hour-long videos of gameplay and they got stuck in processing for 4 or 5 hours a pop, it wouldn't work. You would never be able to watch the videos in order. You'd be waiting endless. If one video sticks for 5-6 hours, now I got to re-upload it. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't work. And for my gameplay style, it doesn't work. For my upload style, it doesn't work. And ideally, what you got to realize is that, yeah, there may be people out there who found successful formulas, right? I agree with you. And a lot of them kind of copy off of each other, and a lot of them do the same thing. If you watch my stuff versus theirs, you will see a huge, tremendous difference. All right? There always has been a huge, tremendous difference between myself and other people who are trying to do this for a living. And, you know, I pride myself on the fact that I do it my way. And there may be people that don't like my way. Fine. There's plenty of alternatives. You know what I mean? And far be it from me to say, don't go check out someone who does gameplay your way. But what I don't like are the people, not the people, by the way, who are very legit and very calm and very fair, and they'll go on Twitter and they'll ask an honest question. Phil, I'm just curious, why do you do this? Why do you have shorter gameplay videos than a lot of other, you know, popular gaming YouTubers? And I answer nice and honestly and calmly, you know. But then you got the person who's like a bigot, like literally a bigot against, wow, you don't do the formula, you don't do the norm, how dare you do something different from everyone else? Unacceptable, you know, and flail their arms. You're not the common denominator. You're not the status quo. Therefore, you by default suck, and I hate you, and I'm going to shit on you. I'm going to tell everyone that you suck. Those are the kind of people that are just miserable. It's like, if you don't like something, don't bother with it, period, right? But anyway, I just thought I would share that with you because that was something that came to light with me this week. And so that's probably why my vlogging channel with longer videos has been doing better and performing better this year. People can search for it and the videos pop up more easily, and people are more interested in that versus the gameplay is pretty much the same as it always has been, and that's starting to wane a little bit. And we'll talk about that a little bit later because I do want to talk about changes coming in 2015, okay? But now that that's out of the way, now I can tell you everything that I've been working on this week, and I can tell you what's changed for this coming weekend because the schedule has changed, and I think it's going to be very interesting, okay? So basically, this week has been interesting because I kind of split from what I was doing. For a while, I was just doing constant long playthroughs of these certain games, and they'd been going on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I said, this week I want to mix it up a little bit and do stuff a little differently. And so what I did was that on Sunday, I actually did my very first set of WWE, both real pay-per-view and fantasy simulation matches. And I could tell you, it was a completely mixed bag when it came to fan reaction, and I'm not sure why, and I hope that maybe I can get some feedback. It looked to me that for the matches that were just plain vanilla simulations of matches from the pay-per-view, it was like, some people watched it, but it wasn't like, wow, it's not a big deal. For some of the matches where I used fantasy characters, like, for example, the final match that I simulated was a Fantasy Royal Rumble that included such characters from, like, Iron Man from the Marvel Universe and Batman from the DC Universe. You had Jason Voorhees in there. You had Shaq at the end of the Royal Rumble. It was just the most out-of-control Royal Rumble because of the insane variety of characters and the hilarious animations and all the stuff going on during this Royal Rumble. That video almost has 10,000 views, and it's only been a few days. So it's like, a pure fantasy match did great. The pure sim stuff was kind of like, people who were interested in wrestling watched it. Everyone else kind of skipped it. And then there were ones in between that really, I don't know. It's hard to judge. It's weird. There was one match that I did Ryback against two mystery opponents. I don't want to spoil who they are because they are fantasy characters. It was really funny. And it was like, I don't know. It just didn't really catch on. Yet the Royal Rumble match did. So what I'm trying to do is gauge what is it that people like versus what people don't like, because I want to do more of that for you. I want to entertain you with fun stuff rather than, well, I'll do the plain vanilla Sims, but I also want to add in some variety for everyone else who's really interested or maybe isn't a fan of wrestling but wants to get into the fantasy matches. So I'm trying to find a nice balance, okay? And we'll see what happens with future pay-per-views. Obviously, with the Royal Rumble pay-per-view coming up, that's one of the biggest ones of the year, and I'm probably going to do simulations of that, and we'll see what happens with that, okay? All right, so that being said, in addition to that, also this week, I took time out for 2 different gameplay streams to do Ultra Street Fighter 4's new Omega Mode DLC. this is the last hurrah for people who loved Street Fighter 4. After 6 years, the game's finally going to be retired this year because it's been announced Street Fighter 5 is in development. They even had a big match of it, which I'm going to talk about in gameplay news, so I'm not even going to really talk about it here at this point. But yeah, we know Street Fighter 5 is on the horizon, and because we know Street Fighter 5 is on the horizon, most people are kind of like, that's it, throw in the towel for Street Fighter 4. But I wanted to check out this final DLC because it's free, and because it really was the first time that things just kind of rebalanced. And what I mean by that is they actually concretely changed stuff in the game versus, a minor gameplay tweak here, a speed recovery frame change, and a little bit of damage change or property change. No, there's legitimately brand new moves in the game. Things have been completely swapped around to be different. Certain characters who never had projectiles have projectiles now. People have all these crazy new moves that they never had, and it's kind of like a last chance, let's just go nuts with the game kind of a deal. Some characters, even that have always been charge characters, are now, motion characters, so they're easier to play with. It's pretty wild. It's pretty out there. And so I checked it out. And I'm going to be honest with everyone. I like it, but I don't think it's anything that needs any kind of really being significantly delved or driven into. And what I mean by that is I can feel it just playing the game, right? I can feel that this is it. This is the last hurrah for this game. This is kind of the death knell of the game. And the game, I'll be honest, it pretty much overstood its welcome, in my opinion. It really did overstay its welcome. 6 years for the same game. And yeah, Street Fighter 4 had 25 iterations. Okay, not really. I think it was like 6. But still, it's too long. You know, in the 90s, when there were versions of the arcade game coming out and people were like foaming at the bit to play more, okay, but not in a modern day. You can't have the same game have updates for 6 years and expect it to have any kind of longevity. Just take a look at, during the time that Street Fighter 4 came out, all the different other fighting games that came out. How many Tekkens came out? You had Mortal Kombat and Injustice. You know what I mean? Like, there were games that had multiple iterations coming out during the time of Street Fighter 4, and it really is time for Street Fighter 5. Okay? So, basically, I played it on Monday. I liked it, but do I really feel like going through the entire cast of 5 million characters and learning all their new moves? Absolutely not. So I played with a variety of characters that I really enjoyed playing with. I did one more stream of it the other night, where I played with Dan and DJ, who I both feel are very different characters with the changes that they made to them. And I thought about it, and I said, do I want to do another stream? And originally, I was going to do tons of streams of this, but after doing it, and even seeing, I'll be honest, seeing the reaction to it, a lot of people are just saying, we're burnt out on Street Fighter. We don't really care that much about it anymore. It's to the point where when the new Street Fighter comes out, absolutely. When Street Fighter 5 comes out, we're there. We definitely want to freaking see it. But at this point, at this point, does anyone want to see Street Fighter 4? And the answer is probably no, especially when there's so much stuff going on with, other games, ongoing game playthroughs that I've had that basically, people want to see continue. You want to see Dragon Age, you want to see Pokemon, you want to see the new games that I just started, Kingdom Hearts. People have been waiting for Assassin's Creed Rogue for a long time. People are saying you should go back to Parasite Eve and Tales of Exilia and get those done, because coming up in January, you got the new Resident Evil re-release, you've got Dying Light coming out at the end of January, and you want to be sure to be ready for those and not have 5,000 lingering playthroughs, alright? And that's fine. If that is the case, then that makes sense. If you don't want me, delaying things a ton in order to just play more Street Fighter, I can understand that. And so that's kind of what I'm balancing in my mind. And after, playing it twice, 2 streams this week, I'm probably going to say, okay, let's get back to business and the ongoing playthroughs, all right? And so in addition to that, yes, I am actually continuing on with Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm carrying on with WWE 2K15 Showcase Mode, even though at this point, I'm going to be honest, I'm pissed at it, because it's the fucking story of CM Punk and John Cena, where they screwed CM Punk and made it the most awful storyline in years. So I'm really annoyed that that's the storyline that they kind of chose for this damn thing, alright? And, it is what it is. I'm going to continue on with the playthroughs. Pretty soon I'll be done with WWE. Probably another stream or 2 streams maximum. Dragon Age is going to be one of those ones that drags on a lot. Pokemon's almost done. Pokemon, I'm in the end game of Pokemon Omega Ruby. It looks like I just got to fight the Elite Four, and then there is a supposed optional new content Delta mode afterwards that I may or may not do when I come back from my Christmas break coming up this week, which we're going to talk about so you guys know exactly what to expect, okay? All right. So hold on one moment, everyone. Because there's people, unfortunately, derailing the chat. And the mods aren't really paying attention to it. Probably because the mods can't even pay attention to the stream. Because the stream is so laggy. Sorry about that. So anyway. So now let's continue. So that's what I've been doing this week. Today was different. Today we went on the side of the box. Because with all these ongoing playthroughs. Oh, and that's one thing that I want to talk about. We did start Kingdom Hearts 2 today. We're going to talk about that in a second. Okay? However, let's actually talk about what I've discovered in this past month. All right? In this past month, for the very first time ever, in the month of November, with all the games that were coming out in the month of November, I decided that I was actually going to do multiple game playthroughs at the same time. And what I mean by that is I was going to do upwards of 5-6 games at a time, and I was going to juggle between them, and I was going to do all this stuff. And I think in some regards it was working, and then it kind of backfired. And here's what I mean. I was warning everyone for months that when come November, there's going to be a ridiculous amount of games that are all going to come out at once. And because they're all coming out at once, I'm going to have to juggle between them. And there's going to be days, 3, 4, 5, days in a row where you might not even see me play the same games. Because there's so many that I'm going between that it's hard for me to even get back to the ones. And I think that for some games, that's fine. For example, a game like Far Cry 4, or even maybe a game like WWE My Career Mode, it's not that much of a big deal. Because is there an ongoing narrative? Yes and no. I don't think anyone was really watching Far Cry 4 to even know what was going on with the ongoing narrative. Let's face it was more about the gameplay. Same thing with WWE My Career. It was like, yeah, there was a career story, but it wasn't coherent. It was like different plot lines that were disjointed. So even if you didn't see it for 5 days, chances are if you jump back in, you didn't really miss anything. Compare that with an ongoing playthrough such as Dragon Age Inquisition, right? Something where there's an ongoing narrative, and if you see it once, and now you're like, man, I want to see the story continue. I want to see more of the side content of this good mission that Phil's been on, and he's kind of paused in between. And waiting 4 days for me to get back into it, I think, hurt things in a lot of ways, okay? Keep in mind, that this is the very first time that I did this, that I chose to do that many games at once. And I'm going to say this. I think, honestly, for some games it didn't matter. And for some games, it actually did hurt the playthroughs. Meaning, Dragon Age Inquisition, if I had stuck with it and I had played the heck out of it for 2-3 weeks, I don't mean every day, maybe every other day I do a major stream of Dragon Age Inquisition, that by now I'd probably be near the end, if not have beaten the game, and people would have loved the playthrough and would have said, this is amazing, it was a game of the year, you got through it, look at all the amount of characters, the narrative, and all that in the game. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Unfortunately, I'm a month into the game, and I've barely scratched the surface, and at this point, it's like if people wanted to see it, they've seen it, or if they wanted to play it, they've played it. How many people are realistically going to come and watch the playthrough of the game that's over a month old? You know what I mean? I understand that, and that's kind of like what I've never been about. I've been the guy, DSP Phil, he's the guy, he gets the games on release day, he plays the hell out of them, right? And he usually beats them within a week or two. That's kind of been my thing since I started on YouTube. I wasn't the guy that uploads 2 videos a day and the playthrough goes on for 4 months. But unfortunately, that's the situation I find myself in when that many games came out at once. So I think what I'm really going to be doing, in the past, in the future, if we get a situation like we did back in November, where there's so many effing games coming out at once, there's just too many for me to play at once, rather than me say, oh, I'm going to juggle 6 games at once and try to figure out how to handle it, I don't think that's the right way to go about it, but I needed to know that. You know what I mean? I needed to mess around with it to figure that out. I think what I will do is I will probably take 2 to 3 games where I focus solely on those games, and those are the games that every couple days I'm playing, and then once I finish those games, I say, okay, slew number 2. So a perfect example here would have been something like this. It would have been, I'm going to play Dragon Age Inquisition, I'm going to play Far Cry 4, and the third game will be WWE My Career. And I'm going to juggle those 3 games until I start beating them, and then I'm going to move on to Pokemon, and then I'll move on to Smash Brothers, and then I'll move on to the next one, Far Cry 4 or whatever. That's really how I think I should have approached it, is narrow it down to 2 or 3 at the most, and just play those. Because what's ended up happening now is that I've got so many games going on at once, right? So many, that people are either lost interest or just tired of waiting. I get tired of waiting. I'll be honest with you guys. Right now, I want to play more Dragon Age. Right now, I want to play more Pokemon. And right now, I want to play more Kingdom Hearts. I do. I want to play all 3 of those games right now, but, you know, I cannot immediately play them all at once. You know what I mean? I'm only one person. You can't play... I guess some people could play 3 games at once on 3 TVs. You know what I mean? But pretty absolutely wild. There were just so many AAA games that came out at once that there was no way for me to handle it properly. In the future, I think this is what I will do. I will actually, you know, play less games at the same time, and I will put stuff off. And yeah, if it means that games like, unfortunately, Assassin's Creed, Rogue, and other stuff has to wait even longer, then so be it. They have to wait even longer. But I think I got too derailed and too distracted from having coherent and consistent playthroughs these past month and a half. And it was funny because it started out great. Every playthrough was doing great and everyone was loving it. And the next thing I know, well, Phil, when are you playing this game next? Well, Phil, when are you playing this game next? Because this is the one I want to watch and you're not playing it. And then after a couple of weeks of that, people start to lose interest. Shit, I'll be honest. I would lose interest. I really would lose interest. So that's how I'm going to handle it in the future. Unfortunately now, it is what it is. You know, it's too late now. You know, I've beaten Far Cry 4. I'm about to beat Pokemon. You know what I mean? I'm starting to get through to the end of some of these playthroughs, and we'll be able to have more consistent stuff. But I apologize to any of you who didn't like the way I handled it, and because of that, maybe lost interest in the ongoing playthroughs. I promise you that moving forward, I will try to do things a little bit more coherently and more orderly so that it's not 5 days before you see the game that you've been waiting for me to play again. Okay? All right. So, there you have it. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about in regard to the past month and all the content that I've been working on. Now let's talk about what I'm doing right now. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I am starting Kingdom Hearts 2, the HD remix. I think it's called Final Mix, actually. That's what it was called last year. Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. This is Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. I just started it today on PlayStation 3. I did a stream of it, and people loved it. Let me tell you, it actually had the second most highest attendance of any stream that I've done since I started streaming on YouTube over a month ago, which of course shocked me. I'm like, okay, well, I guess people really want to see this, right? And I was very pleased. The stream chat was excited. They were active. They were engaged. They were talking about the game. They were talking about the gameplay. They were wondering how far I would get and when I would play it again and blah, blah, blah. So those videos, I believe it's about 2 to 2.5 hours of gameplay, have been uploaded to my YouTube channel, DSP Gaming. I'm still in the prologue. The game apparently has a 3 to 4 hour long prologue, which is fine. At this point, people are basically saying, Phil, this weekend you've got to play it again. Because we liked it so much the first time, we want to see it again, we want to see it continue more before you take time off for Christmas, which I'm about to talk about. So we want to see it again, and we don't want to have to wait, 2 more weeks before you ever play it again. So I've decided that I am going to readjust my schedule for these next several days leading into the Christmas week. So let me basically give you guys the heads up on what exactly to expect so that you know exactly, what I'll be doing in the next few days, rather than just kind of scratching your heads and say, what the hell is Phil playing, because he's just rescheduled the schedule 400 times, okay? So tonight, obviously, Hate Live will be going live on the King of Hate Vlogs. Duh. Tomorrow, which is Friday, will be the continuation of Dragon Age Inquisition on first stream. And yes, there will be more WWE 2K15 Showcase Mode, John Cena versus CM Punk, on the second stream. Now you may say, but wait a minute. Phil, you just said that you don't like that plot line or whatever. Yeah, but I'm 6 matches into it. It's 19 matches, so it looks like another 1 to 2 shorter streams. I'll have that done, and then we can give WWE a rest for a while, which I think is what a lot of people want. They're all WWE'd out after over 100-part My Career playthrough. Give it a rest and focus on the other stuff, okay? By the way, it looks like the stream quality is improving now. It looks like the frame drops may be stopping. I should knock on wood, because I'm an idiot for saying that, but it looks like it may be getting slightly better at least. And now it looks like it's getting terrible again now that I said that. Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, so tomorrow, Dragon Age Inquisition first stream, WWE 2K Showcase second stream. Saturday, I've already promised everyone I was going to do Pokemon, so I kind of don't want to disappoint people, but at the same time, I want to play Kingdom Hearts. So Saturday, what I'm really thinking I'm going to do is Saturday will probably be Kingdom Hearts 2 again. So Saturday's stream is going to be Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. It's going to be the only gameplay stream of Saturday, because remember, on Saturdays, I do one gameplay stream, and then I head out and I do stuff with my girlfriend because it's the only day of the week we really do anything together, right? So, one gameplay stream on Saturday. It will be more Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, and it should be a good one. People are liking it. They love the visual quality, by the way. This playthrough, because of my new equipment this year, looks significantly better than the Kingdom Hearts Final Mix playthrough from last year. Let's put it that way. And you guys should definitely check it out, all right? So that's going to be Saturday, and then Sunday will be the Pokemon Omega Ruby stream, which will probably be the end game stream. And what I mean by that is it's going to basically be me taking on the final legendaries that I haven't really gotten yet, probably the Elite Four, and finishing off the mainstream story of the game. At this point, I don't want to start with the Delta mission, extra 3 hours of content, because there's no time to do it. I know I won't be able to finish it before the Christmas week. Okay. So that's kind of the approach I'm taking. Saturday, Kingdom Hearts. Sunday, Pokemon. Probably the end of the Pokemon Ruby gameplay until I get a chance to do that Delta episode whenever I get to do it, okay? So that's what you can look forward to this weekend. In addition, there will be a new DSP Tries It this weekend, okay? In addition to that, Sunday is going to be a little different. I'm going to try to do a weekend preview, but I don't know if I'll be able to. At the very least, if I can't do a weekend preview formally, I will at least do a mini video where I'll explain to you how the week's going to work when it comes to fan appreciation, because I'm about to explain this whole situation. On Sunday night, my parents are flying in from Connecticut. So Sunday night, no content at all. No second stream, nothing, because Leanna and I are going to be heading over to the airport to pick up my parents. And my parents will be here for a week. They're arriving on Sunday and leaving that following Saturday. So they're going to be here more often than not. They're going to be in the house. They're probably going to want to do, oh, look, Phil never hung this painting, or Phil never did, or we could clean this. This is how my parents are. They show up, and immediately they say, oh, we can improve this, and we can do this. My dad has to help me fix my toilet, because my toilet broke about 2 weeks ago, and I don't have any clue how to fix the insides of a toilet. Like, I'm looking at it like, this is an ancient mechanism, and this plastic thing snapped off, and I'm going to have to rip the whole thing out and reinstall it, and I don't know how to do it. So my dad and I, he's going to teach me how to do it, and that's one of the things we're going to do while they're here. I know, right? My dad's coming for Christmas. He's going to help me with my toilet. But anyway, that's kind of going to be the gist of the week. We're going to be doing family stuff. We're going to be having dinner every day together. We're going to be celebrating the holidays. We're going to be going shopping together. We're going to be doing all kinds of that kind of stuff. And therefore, I'm not going to have time to be doing constant gameplay. And therefore, starting Monday, there will be nothing. Monday is going to be a day of rest for me. Not really. And what I mean by that is there will not be any gameplay on Monday. However, there will be me doing tons of stuff with my family. All right? Myself, Leanna, and my parents are going to be very busy that Monday, probably going around shopping and grocery shopping and showing my parents around and showing them the house and, oh, let's do this and let's do that. And Monday is going to basically be a day I'm completely off. Nothing going on Monday. All right? On Tuesday, starting on Tuesday, every day, my one main gameplay stream, because there's only going to be one gameplay stream a day, one a day next week, is going to be fan appreciation. And what I'm planning on do is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare on the PlayStation 4, Master Chief Collection on the Xbox One, although I'm not sure what the gameplay mode is that everyone's playing on their multiplayer. I hope that people will give me feedback and let me know. Smash Brothers, whether on the Wii U, the 3DS, or both. And the possibility, I'd say, of Street Fighter 4, and also the possibility of WWE 2K15, although I've actually heard that WWE 2K15 is terrible online. It's like incredibly laggy, just as bad, if not worse, right? Alright. So, that being said, I don't want to promise you guys anything, because who knows what happens when my parents show up. And the next thing you know, well, now Monday is different, but Tuesday now we're going to be busy instead. So I want to play it by ear, but at least I'm going to give you guys a rough schedule of when and what to expect come this Sunday, all right? I'm going to try to do a video for you to explain what's coming up this Christmas week. There may even be a special Christmas content vlogging and stuff where I vlog my mom making her homemade lasagna, which is a family recipe that she does that's really amazing, and stuff like that. But for the most part, don't expect tons and tons of gameplay this week. Mostly it's going to be fan appreciation stuff. And then at the end of the week, right, when my parents leave on Saturday, starting that Sunday, we're going to jump back into the thick of things. Daily, I'm going to be doing gameplay streams of the continuation of Dragon Age Inquisition, Kingdom Hearts 2, possibly Pokemon's Delta mode. We're going to try to finish off stuff that I didn't finish off, such as Parasite Eve, the playthrough that's been going on for a million years and never finished. Tales of Exilia 2, the playthrough that's been going on for a million years that I never finished. But at the same time, I'm going to balance the gameplay with my year-end series. So, perfect example here is, I haven't even started with things like worst gaming trends of the year, best DLCs of the year, funniest moments montage of the year, those kind of things, and of course my Game of the Year awards. These are the things that traditionally I love to do. I haven't had a chance whatsoever to even touch them because I'm so busy with games. So, that being said, it's going to be a different kind of couple weeks coming up. Come 2015, some things are going to change. First of all, we are actively working on the website, and the website, thekingofhate.com, may be up sooner rather than later. And what I mean by that is it may actually be up by next week. I may actually have it up and live and ready to go for you guys to post up and do year-end kind of stuff by next week. What I need to do is sit down with Onyx, who has been the web designer for this whole website, and figure out how to get he has everything in place. Like, he has a whole dashboard that I can put information into. It'll update the schedule on a daily basis, and the forums are almost in place. They're not ready yet. The forums are almost in place and ready to be edited, okay? However, they're not done yet. They're not 100%. I'm hoping that by early next week we can get those up and you guys can jump on the forums and have fun with them, all right? Ideally, I'm paying for the forums, and for over a month they've already been down, so that's money out of my pocket that you guys should be enjoying, and you're not enjoying it, and that's ridiculous. Okay? So, that's coming. The website is coming. In 2015, there's a few new things coming that I want to talk about. First of all, I've already talked about this new vlog series. I'm definitely going to revive Project 7. Project 7 is going to be exactly what it was supposed to be when I originally envisioned it. Now I finally have the means, the resources, the time to do the kind of series that I wanted to do originally that I never got to do because I didn't have that. I didn't have the resources and the time and everything to work on it the way that I wanted to, okay? So Project 7 will be returning. I'm thinking about doing a YouTube parody series. I already talked about this, where YouTube makes changes and there's issues with things on YouTube and things that they do. It'll be a YouTube parody comedy series. I don't want to get too much into that until I have more of a formulated idea of what it is. But one series that I'm 100% doing starting in 2015. No exceptions. I have to do it because it sounds great to me, and it's something that I love just as much as video games and movies. I am a movie buff. I've watched thousands of movies in my lifetime. I have a large movie collection, a big breadth of knowledge and wealth of knowledge when it comes to movies. And what I would like to do is start, maybe once a week, it'll be a new DSP at the movies or at the movies with the king. I don't know. And once a week, I'll grab one of my movies and or television series or something from my DVD collection, and I'll review it for you and say, here's what I think about this movie. Here's my thoughts, my insight on this movie and what it's about. Here's what I think about this DVD release. And should you check it out, yada, yada, yada. I have so many down there that I could probably do that for about 4 years without ever running out of content. I'm not even kidding you. I have that much, right? I have that much. And I think that it would be great. I think that actually it would be a really fun thing to do, a new series. And a lot of people, you know, as I tweet regularly on places like Twitter or talking on Ask the King and stuff like that about movies, a lot of people say, I wish that I could actually have more insight from Phil from his movie side, because he's always about video games, but there's more to him than that, and I'd like to find out about movies. That's what that series is going to be about, okay? And that's going to start next year. I have to think of a new name for it and all of that, okay? So all that's happening next year. I mentioned this last week. I'm going to mention it again. I'm probably going to be mentioning it every week up until it actually goes into effect sometime in early 2015. Starting in 2015, I am going to either start a Patreon account, or it may be this. YouTube has their own version of it, actually. It's called YouTube Fan Funding. And I actually found out that it is enabled right now if I wanted to. Excuse me. If I flicked a switch on my YouTube page, that YouTube Fan Funding could immediately go into effect. Now, the reason that I don't like YouTube Fan Funding, there's a couple reasons. Number one, the YouTube Fan Funding really isn't an agreement of any kind. It's like, oh, you opened up this area, and if people want to give you money, they can, and that's it. I don't like that. I don't want anyone to ever think that I'm asking for, like, just give me your money donations. This is a two-way street. I provide entertaining and fun content for you, and you give me the views, and that supports me, right? Unfortunately, since I moved to the state of Washington, I have seen a marked decline in viewership when it comes to my gameplay videos. I actually have seen a marked increase in viewership when it comes to my vlogs. The problem is, it's the gameplay videos that bring in most of my money, and the vlogs is like a little bit of side trickle here, so unfortunately it's not balanced out. If I'm going to continue to do this, I'm going to have to do some things a little bit differently, and one of the things that I can do is set up a Patreon account where I basically say, I will give you either timed content or exclusive content. And by the way, it will never be something that only people who are Patreon members can see. No matter what it is that I decide to do with this agreement, it's going to go public for everyone. Because I understand that there's people out there that love my content, they followed me for years, and they just don't have any money, or they don't have enough money, or they don't feel like this is, giving Phil money is not something that I want to do. Fine. And I'm okay with that. I would never fault anyone for thinking that their money is better spent somewhere else, or I like to watch Phil's content, but I'm just not going to put any money towards it. But there have been people who've been asking me for years to open up donations and all that, and I've never done it since 2011, since I started making a living doing this. I never accepted donations, and I'm still not. That's not what Patreon is going to be. What Patreon is a means for you to basically invest in me. I give you exclusive content, and I get to improve my content and continue to do the stuff that I've been doing as a living, versus only being at the mercy of YouTube views and ad revenue. I'll now have a new means and not have to worry. I won't have as many pressures on my back about, man, I've got to do this certain playthrough of a certain game and it's got to get a certain amount of views, because if it doesn't, my business doesn't succeed. That's not what it'll be about anymore. It'll be more about, wow, I've got these awesome supporters who want to see me continue to do the kind of projects that I want to do, regardless of if they're super popular or not. That's what Patreon is all about. Patreon of the arts, right? It's supposed to be patron of the arts, excuse me, I said that wrong, but that's why it sounds like Patreon. They just mixed it around a little bit. So this week, I actually looked into these things a little bit. I lied. Leanna looked into these things. I asked her to look it up for me. And basically, the YouTube fan funding option that's on YouTube works identically to Patreon. And what I mean by that is it's a 5% cut by these companies. So for example, if I decide that for $5 a month, you get exclusive content from me and you become a Patreon member, I'll get 95% of that $5. By the way, holy shit, what a difference between the 50% cut that Twitch TV took on their subscription program. Do you remember? Twitch TV took 50%. Ridiculous amount of money. Okay? Here, it's 5%. That's way more reasonable in my opinion. You know what I mean? Makes more sense. But both businesses take 5%. But I think looking at the two businesses, it makes more sense to go with Patreon for a few reasons. Number one, because right now my YouTube channels are not registered to make money in my name. They're actually registered, they're partnered with Machinima. So for example, if I were to say, oh, let's do YouTube fan funding, and someone sent me $20, that money doesn't go to me. That money goes to Machinima. And then Machinima would have to sit there with a basket and collect everyone's money and then pass it to me eventually. I don't want to have a middleman there. Why does Machinima have to do the busy work of handling the money and handing it to me? It doesn't even make sense. Why give them extra work? If I open up my own Patreon account, then it'll go straight to me, no middleman. You know what I mean? So that makes more sense. And since they're the same percentage of 5%, which is a measly little meager amount that these places take, I think it would make more sense to go with a Patreon account. And by the way, there's tons of people who've been doing Patreon. I just never have even considered it until I moved. I'll be honest. Until I moved this year. I don't know what it was, whether it was that people didn't want to wait 2 to 3 weeks for me to come back and do my gameplay again, whether people didn't like the fact that I moved to a bigger and better house and people got pissed off, people just don't like me anymore because of one particular thing that I said, or maybe it's the, hater bullshit. I don't even know, and I don't care. The bottom line is, I'm here to make gameplay videos and entertain you guys, and I got people on a daily basis telling me to keep doing what you're doing no matter what. We support you. If you ever had donations, we would do it. If you do a Patreon, we're going to do it because we want to see you be able to have fun with games and continue on doing what you're doing and not become like those other people. And what I mean by that is they're the big YouTubers who, please like my video, please subscribe. By the way, here's my t-shirt, please buy it. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the new product for Christmas. The hot new toy, Mr. Fuck It, is available now for only $19.99. Please buy it because I get a cut. And also, by the way, new DSP cereal is now available on store shelves with super frosted oats. Please go buy DSP cereal. You know, I've never done anything like that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I don't. I've never done that. Oh my God, stupid pop-up message blocking me. I couldn't even get back to the screen. I don't do that, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to become a shill in order to continue to be able to do this for a living. I would much rather be able to do the kind of stuff that I'm enjoying, the stuff that you're enjoying, be able to do more niche playthroughs. For example, you know, these games that people, gee, I wonder if Phil is ever going to go do this obscure RPG that he mentioned 2 years ago and he never got to it. Well, no, if it's going to support the business and, you know, it's going to be for a niche audience, no. But if I have a Patreon and people are supporting me through that way, then yeah. Then I don't care about what the views are on YouTube because I'm being supported anyway. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a hand-in-hand thing. And actually, if it works in the long term, it could give me more creative freedom to do the kind of stuff that you guys want to see versus what's mainstream popular. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, that's kind of what it ends up being is you got to do what's mainstream popular to make it on YouTube now because if you don't, people don't watch and there's no way to make a living doing it. And I don't like that. So here we go, everybody. That's kind of the deal. And I just want to prepare everyone that come early 2015, yes, I'll be explaining to you how it's going to happen. I'll be explaining to you what the means are and all that. I do not have a Patreon account yet. I am not accepting donations. I am not taking anything from YouTube. I want to make that clear. There are people out there impersonating me on these websites trying to be malicious and trying to fool people and just basically trying to be dicks in a lot of cases. Those aren't me. There's no Patreon account in my name right now, so if you see stuff like that, ignore it. It's not really me, and you can just go ahead and ignore it. I will let you know when that stuff is in place, okay? All right. So, all right, let's get now, before we move into our holiday segment, I want to talk about gaming news and world news, okay? And basically, my voice is very, very strained right now because I just talked for an hour, but there was so much to talk about that unfortunately I have no idea whatsoever when I would have taken a break, you know what I mean? So let's just jump right into it because there's some serious stuff that we got to talk about. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people jokingly asked me about this today, so I will address it. Minecraft. No, I'm not talking about the Minecraft that everyone knows about, the one that people have asked me about for years and years to say, will Phil ever play Minecraft? Will Phil ever play, you know, this game that became viral, that everyone wanted to see him play because it became huge on YouTube, and whenever you search for YouTube gameplay videos, it's Minecraft. Minecraft dominates YouTube, Minecraft dominates the internet, Minecraft dominates the fucking Walmart and the Target and all the stores you go to. It's the biggest game amongst the widest audience simply because it is a simple game and it's an addictive game and it's a creative game and there's a lot of mods for it. And it's something that I never got into, and it's something that I will never get into. I'm not interested in this stuff. Okay, I'm not. I've never been interested in the game. This week it was announced that Telltale Games is making a Minecraft game. It's going to be called Minecraft Story Mode. And they're basically going to be doing exactly what they did with games like Game of Thrones and their most recent Tales from the Borderlands, where they take an existing gameplay franchise, okay? They change it and adapt it, and they turn it into a story-based episodic game. Will I check it out? I mean, here's the bottom line. Minecraft has no consistent story, right? That's what the joke is here, that it's Minecraft Story Mode. Oh, excuse me. So, the bottom line is, yeah, I may check it out. Even though I'm not interested in the gameplay of hardcore mainstream Minecraft, okay? It's not the same. It's not sitting there mining for minerals and running away from creepers and building stuff and really having no objective. It's different. It's going to be a story. It's going to be a narrative story that now... The thing is, I get the feeling a lot of stuff will be lost on me. I never played Minecraft. I was one of the very few people in the world who never played Minecraft. And because of that, I probably will be references and things in it that I won't understand. That doesn't mean that I don't like the Telltale episodic games. I love Telltale episodic games. Let me give you some perspective here. If the Minecraft Story Mode game is like Tales from the Borderlands, where it takes gameplay elements but also unique characters and fun stuff from the game universe and tosses it into a fun narrative story, I'll probably love it. If it's like Game of Thrones, the other Telltale game that just came out, where there's all these insider references and you really need to be a fan of the show and a fan of the books to even understand what the hell's going on in the game, I probably won't like it. So I could see a mixed bag. I could definitely see it could be this or it could be this. And I don't know. I don't know which one is going to be, which is it going to be. It could be either way. And depending on what way it goes, will depend on if I like it or not. Or determine if I like it or not. Alright. So, I don't know. It intrigues me. At the same time, I don't know if I'll love it. I don't know if I'm necessarily looking forward to it. But it's definitely something I would consider doing. Alright. Oh, big controversy this week in regards to, of all things, WWE 2K15, which I've been playing. And I don't know how many of you guys or gals have checked out WWE 2K15, bought the season pass, and got wind of this week, okay? Let's talk about this a little bit, because this was kind of a really annoying bait and switch that 2K Games did, and they're in hot water for it, okay? So, last year was the first year that 2K Games took over the WWE franchise. Previously, years before that, it was THQ, but unfortunately THQ went out of business. Every year, okay, every year, no matter who developed it, whether it was THQ or 2K Games, the way that the DLC mode worked on WWE was like this. You buy the season pass for $20-25, and every DLC that comes out after that you usually get. So whether it's new characters, okay, whether it's some kind of a new release, the way that it traditionally worked is there's like a planned pack. So, oh, there will be this character, and this character coming out at this date. Oh, but by the way, we may add new wrestlers. For a perfect example, a couple of years ago, Ryback. Ryback was a new wrestler. He had become very popular on television. He was like one of the top guys, but he wasn't in the game because earlier in the year when the game came out, he wasn't known at all. So they added him in as part of the DLC season pass, okay? And this is how the season pass has always worked. This is how it's always worked. Unfortunately, this year, 2K Games did something different and did not disclose it to people. That is a problem. It'd be one thing if you fully disclosed everything to everyone up front. They did not, okay? So 2K Games released WWE 2K15, and then they released the season pass saying, well, you're going to get Paige as an exclusive diva at some point in the future, and you will have access to some future story mode content, and that's all they said. They didn't explain, would there be more content? Is there anything else coming in the season pass? It was never really explained, okay? So, people were like, all right, whatever, we'll see what happens as stuff is released. The season pass means all the DLC, right? It's the season. If you buy season tickets, you can go to every game for a sports team. So if you're buying the season pass, you should be able to get all the DLC for that season. Makes sense, right? Well, this past week, out of nowhere, hadn't even been previously announced, they released a DLC for WWE 2K15. It was the WCW pack, including such greats as Diamond Dallas Page, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Lex Luger. So for those people who are fans of 1990s wrestling, WCW, oh my god, this is great. I can't wait to get these wrestlers. Let me go download them. Oh, $8. And you're like, huh? Wait a minute. I bought the season pass. Season pass, in the definition of what it is, entails you get all the DLC for the season, yet those guys weren't included. And in fact, it's been further announced that there will be more characters released coming up in the next couple months that will also not be included in the Season Pass. What is included in the Season Pass are Paige, like we previously said, the Accelerator, which allows you to unlock all the unlockable content in the existing game, and also 3 new story modes that will be coming out later in the year featuring Randy Orton versus Christian and 2 other ones. So, okay, great, but I bought the season pass. Why even call it? Don't call it a season pass then. Call it the storyline pass with bonus Paige. Oh, by the way, there'll be other DLCs for you to buy separately. Because that's the kind of feeling that what people are having right now. It's like, I feel robbed. I paid $25 expecting I was going to get all of the content for WWE. In fact, previous years, if you got the season pass, you did get all the content. This year, now they're going to be releasing separate packs for $8 each, and screw you if you bought the season pass. So a lot of people are getting pretty angry at that. And I have mixed feelings. My overall mixed feelings are as follows. okay, fair enough. We got fooled. And I say, you know what? It's our fault. Shame on us. Because as consumers, right? As a consumer, unless you see something in writing, black and white, you shouldn't believe it. And the bottom line is, yes, maybe in previous years, 2K Games and even THQ gave you all the content if you bought the season pass. There was no guarantee that they were going to continue to do that forever, and they didn't guarantee us that in writing this year. In fact, I would say, right now, we're in a very unique time when it comes to downloadable content and expansions. It seems like every major game out there is now trying to make extra money by releasing some kind of a DLC storyline or some kind of a DLC pack or some kind of additional content that's superfluous or extra to the main $60 retail game that you bought. However, there's no criteria. There's absolutely no criteria to determine what's a DLC, what's not, what's included, what's not. It's pretty much the Wild West when it comes to DLCs right now. And just think about it. 2-3 years ago, most games didn't have major DLCs, right? It wasn't until maybe 2-3 years ago when all of a sudden we started getting major DLC releases for most video games. And now it's kind of becoming mainstream that almost every game has one. But there's no written criteria. There's no guidelines. It's not like television or movies or other emerging, medias that are kind of established now. Video games are still an emerging media. They're still an emerging entertainment source, and we don't know what the rules are. So can you fault 2K Games? They didn't promise you what you wanted. You just thought you were getting it. You know what I mean? So there you have it. It's like it could be very confusing. I understand that. I myself can see from both sides. Am I disappointed as a consumer that I bought this season pass and I didn't get the WCW pack? Yes. I'm disappointed. I would have thought I would have gotten it. But I was not promised it. So shame on me from a business perspective for basically being the gullible goat, right? I believed it. I thought I would get everything, and I didn't. So I can see both sides. I think that as consumers, we're going to have to be very careful in the future of what we buy because things are very much changing at a rapid pace, and we want to be sure that we don't get duped in this way. Okay? All right. Street Fighter V. I don't have a lot to say about this. Street Fighter V premiered at the Capcom Cup this past weekend. It was the last major fighting game tournament of the year, and they showed a match of Street Fighter V. Actually, it was two matches. It was Mike Ross against Combo Fiend. Not that you could tell that Combo Fiend knew what he was doing with Chun-Li, and Mike Ross probably really didn't understand too much about the game. I was a little annoyed because they didn't even really explain to the commentators who were, I know one was Ultra David. I don't know if the other one was James Chen or not. But can you please explain to them a little bit about the game so when they're commentating, they can explain what's happening in the game? Instead, they were like, he activated some kind of a revenge meter. He did a super, but it killed revenge meter, not super meter. Wait, now there's a move. Did it kill super? And you could tell they were more confused than anything else. So it was a little disorganized. I don't know why the hell they couldn't do that more organized. But from what I can see from the gameplay footage available from those matches, the game looks a lot slower paced. The game seems a lot more rigid. It actually reminds me of Street Fighter 3 Third Strike a lot in that regard. It seems more like it's not going to be free-flowing. It's more like Chun-Li will be, a ground-based character with a few good jump-in attacks, but she's going to be walking back and forth with a standard zoning game and a few mix-ups and tricks, while Ryu may be a more zoned character with his fireballs, and I don't know what the revenge thing is. No one really understands any of that stuff right now, right? But basically, it looks different. It definitely looks different from Street Fighter 4. Visually, it actually does look similar to Street Fighter 4. You know what I really thought when I watched the footage of Street Fighter 5? This looks like Street Fighter 2's 2D artistic style rendered in 3D. It looks like they took the design characteristics, the more gritty, hardened design characteristics for Street Fighter 2 and tried to make them 3D. Street Fighter 4 was cartoony. It had these weird anime-ish proportions to the characters. It didn't look realistic. This looks like a little more realistic to me. Now, of course, all that being said, during the match, at one point, Ryu kicks Chun-Li. Chun-Li falls into a pantry, and a bowl of noodles lands on her head. On the next round, the bowl of noodles stayed stuck to her head. So it's like, okay, so I guess there is some comic relief in the game, so they're maybe trying to retain some of the comic relief, and it's not as serious. The game's very hard to read right now, but I've seen two matches. It's not like I can say, I know everything about the game. I'm not going to do some, in-depth analysis, hyper-analysis, which a lot of people I've seen already have put out videos. In-depth hyper-analysis of Street Fighter V, of which we've seen two matches. It's like, What are you talking about? You can't say anything about the game. You don't even know half the shit about it yet. But I think that that at least I would like to believe that this game is going to be a return to more classic Street Fighter roots, a more rigid gameplay style, not a game that's so openly easy to play to everyone that within a week everyone's double tapping your corner on your D-pad. Here, I'm going to do a Shoryuken, everyone. Ready? This is punch. Shoryuken! Shoryuken! It's like there's no risk reward in that game. It's just a bunch of easy fucking moves that you can toss out at any moment. It's nothing like classic Street Fighter. Would I like to see the game return to classic Street Fighter and actually require real hand-eye coordination and timing and reversals and footsies rather than just pattern play? Sure, but I don't know if we're going to see that. I guess we'll have to find out, okay? So that's my initial feelings on Street Fighter V. I'm not going to say anything further because I can't analyze 1-2 matches and tell you more about it, okay? Final Fantasy Type 0. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't know what the fuck it is. Like everyone, a few months ago, people said, Phil, did you hear about this Final Fantasy Type 0? It's coming out next year. Some HD release of some game that already came out, and if you pre-order it, you get the demo for Final Fantasy 15. So you're getting it, right, Phil? I don't know what the hell. What is that? What is Final Fantasy Type? I literally have no clue. Okay, and you know, admittedly, I've been busy these past couple of months. I don't really have time to drop everything and look into what's Final Fantasy Type 0. Guess what? I heard from a few people this week that apparently the game is not being allowed to have a lot of pre-orders. And what I mean by that is there's some people that are going to their local GameStops or game stores to reserve the game and being told the pre-order window is already over. To which you're like, what? The game doesn't come out till like late January or February. I'm not sure exactly when. But apparently, what happened was this. When everyone got wind that Final Fantasy 15's demo was going to be released with the first wave, okay, the first printing, per se, of this game, people ran out and pre-ordered the shit out of it, and no one really realized it, and now people are, okay, well now it's time for me to start reserving my games for 2015. You go to the store, sorry, a pre-orders are already sold out. And you're like, what? So, I don't know anything about the game. I haven't pre-ordered it yet. I haven't made my pre-order list for 2015 yet. I do know that in January there's that Resident Evil remake and Dying Light. I know that in February there's a bunch of stuff, I think, including Evolve and Bloodborne and a few others that are coming out that look like they're going to be pretty good, but I haven't gotten it yet. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. And I would love to pre-order it right now, but I'm not going to GameStop anytime soon. I probably won't even be to GameStop again until the end of the year, if not early 2015. So unless I do an online pre-order, but is it that big of a deal that I get the demo of Final Fantasy 15? I don't know. But I just want to bring that out there because it's something that's a hot topic that everyone's talking about. If you are like so dead set on either getting Type 0 or getting the demo of Final Fantasy 15, you're going to want to head out and grab it right now and pre-order it right now, okay? All right. The final piece of game news that I want to talk about, and then honestly I'm going to take a break because my voice is shot. The Xbox One. By all reports, ladies and gentlemen, the Xbox One, at least in the United States, I don't know if this is a worldwide figure, it outsold the PlayStation 4 in November by a wide margin. And a lot of people are saying, oh no, this is it. The floodgates have opened. The tides have turned now. Everyone's buying the Xbox One. See, we told you so. It took a year, and it took popular opinion to change and and lean over. But ladies and gentlemen, the Xbox One is now going to be the market leader because more people bought it for 1 month than the PlayStation 4. And this is kind of the reaction I have to it. Because if you are a business-minded person, if you are a logical-minded person, and you're not just a rabid fanboy, you would realize how ridiculous that statement is. The PlayStation 4 has been beating the Xbox One every fucking month. Every month. Until November. You know what I mean? Like, destroying it. And then finally, it was kind of neck and neck. And then in November, the Xbox One overtook the PlayStation 4. Now, let's take a look. Why did the Xbox One outsell the PlayStation 4 in November? There's several logical factors that we can lean towards. Number one, the insane effing deals that they were offering with it. If you bought the Xbox One during like that Black Friday weekend, I don't know how many of you noticed this, right? It came with like 3 fucking games. It came with like, 3 high-profile AAA games that you would want for the console. It came for free. So you were getting the console with 3 free games. Number 2, the price has dropped to $350. $350. Which is cheaper than ever. You know what I mean? Like, it's super cheap compared to, what was it they were trying to sell it for originally? $100 more because you got the piece of shit Kinect. Now you can get it for cheaper than all the other consoles without the piece of shit Kinect with 3 free games. Of course, if you're in the market for a new console, will you get the one that a lot of people have and like, or will you get this one with 3 free fucking games that's cheaper? You know what I mean? But ultimately, what I would think and what I would say, is basically, and this is just common sense. You can dispute this if you want. You can say, no, Phil, that I don't believe that's the case, and you have the 100%. You have the ability to do that, and I'm not going to stand here and discredit you or get mad at you for disagreeing with me. But you have to think about it this way, okay? For 1 year, these consoles have now been on the market, a full year. By every documented piece of information, the PlayStation 4 has sold like hotcakes, all right? And if you wanted a next-gen game, you probably bought it for the PlayStation 4, unless it was a console exclusive for the Xbox One. And, it seems like this time around, there's been a flip-flop. It seems to flip-flop every time. The PlayStation 2 was the dominant console of that console era. The Xbox 360 was the dominant console. As much as we'd like to say, oh, it was the Wii, I don't even consider them the same thing because they didn't have the same games. And the Xbox 360, for the majority of that console era, dominated. Now, the PS3 did beat it at the end, but for the majority of that console era, the Xbox 360 won. They flip-flopped again. PlayStation 4 is where it's at. That's what kind of almost the mentality of everyone. After all the controversy we had last year with Don Matrick and all the bullshit, all the negativity associated with Microsoft, everyone's like, it's all about PlayStation 4 at this point, right? So I have to use my common sense logic and say, if you wanted a PlayStation 4 by now, you bought it already. Okay? Just think about that. You had Christmas. You probably had over the past year your birthday, several holidays. If you have a job, you've probably been saving up your money. There have been several games that have come out over the past several months that you probably wanted for these next-gen consoles. If you wanted a PlayStation 4, you probably have it. Versus, now it's Christmas of the next year. Well, I already have the PlayStation 4. I already have a bunch of games for it. Oh, but the Xbox One's only $350 and there's 3 games coming with it that maybe I don't have yet for the PlayStation 4. I want that for Christmas. So, it seems to make sense. You know what I mean? Logically thinking, you would think, okay, of course the Xbox One's going to outsell. Everyone has the PlayStation 4 already. If you really want to get a console this holiday season, it would be the other one because it's cheaper and it comes with more games and you already have the PlayStation 4. But I digress. I could be wrong, but that's just my logical common sense thinking is saying people probably already have it. Okay? All right. So, let's take a quick break, everyone. Give me about 5 minutes to rest my voice. I'm out of drink. That's the other problem. I'm completely out of drink. I need more drink. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about worldwide news for about maybe 5-10 minutes and my opinions on some really controversial and unfortunate events. And then we're going to get festive. We're going to talk about festive stuff. We're going to talk about Christmas in the United States and around the world to try to lighten the mood and end on a high note, okay? So thanks, everyone. I know I just went for over an hour talking. Give my voice a rest for a little bit. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back shortly with more Hate Live with really important, fun stuff, and I hope that you'll enjoy it. Thanks, everyone. I'll be right back with the continuation of the holiday episode of Hate Live. Don't go anywhere. Oops. We'll go with this. Okay, everyone, welcome back to Hate Live's 2014 Holiday Special. And unfortunately, before we can get to the happy, funny, festive stuff, we have to talk a little bit about world news recently. A few really just disturbing, appalling things that I have to address here. I would actually probably be doing everyone a disservice to ignore them. I know, yes, we're supposed to be in the happy, holiday, festive spirit, but that doesn't mean we ignore everything else going on around us. We have to be intelligent individuals, right? So, the first thing that I want to talk about, is this ongoing Sony hack controversy and the repercussions of this ongoing hacking, and now terrorist threat that seem to have concrete results and concrete effects on everyone. So for those of you who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, basically, Sony got hacked. And you might say, okay, well, Sony gets hacked all the time. A couple of years ago, PSN got hacked and everyone's account passwords and everything got exposed, and I even made a joke about it and all that. This one's a little bit more serious because this was not just someone going into Sony, Sony server, and Sony was really lax in their security, so they got someone's personal information or whatever. Nothing like that at all. This was probably, from what the FBI is saying, one of the biggest security breaches they've ever seen. In fact, the security professionals of the FBI are saying that basically the attack, the sophistication of the attack that was placed against Sony was so high that it would have beaten 90% of the defenses that the internet has. So just think about that. 90% of the companies on the internet that have your personal information, your email history, your money, your banking, 90% could have been hacked by whoever this person was and or this group of people were, the perpetrators who hacked Sony. Now, there have been a, wide variety of effects of this Sony hacking. One of the effects is silly stuff like, we got emails that found out that actually internally people like bigwig execs at Sony have made fun of Kevin Hart. If you didn't know, Kevin Hart in the past 2 years has basically had the biggest boost of his career ever. He's been in like multiple movies at the same time and stuff like that. He's a comedian. He's an African-American comedian. And apparently the emails say things like, Kevin Hart's the hardest guy to work with. He's a fucking dick. And the only reason we're doing it is because he's white hot right now, but we can't wait to boot his ass because we don't want anything to do with it. Okay? Wow. Okay? But it's silly. That's, okay, who cares? Gossip. But then there have been some serious things uncovered. One of the most serious things that have been uncovered, if you can believe it, and it's true, like, this is concrete. People found these emails and read them. A conspiracy between Sony and the Motion Picture Association of America with the district attorneys of the states of America. For those of you who don't know, there's, we have some 50 states in the United States of America, and each one has a district attorney who's basically like the lead lawyer who gets to go after certain cases and sue certain things. Basically a conspiracy where the Motion Picture Association said that they will finance the election campaigns of district attorneys. For in exchange, the district attorneys will push things like internet censorship and cases for the MPAA. This is blatant abuse of power, and it is illegal. But they found these emails. Now, that's the thing, like, there's such a mishmash, a variety of data that's been leaked during these hacking that it's hard to dispute what's real and what's not, because there's so much. It's like, who would make this shit up? You know what I mean? Like, okay, if there was all the evidence pointing towards one little thing, you would say, okay, maybe they made it up, but there's all this stuff coming out at the same time about, wow, things behind the scenes that people thought they were safe saying, and now they've been exposed, and the conspiracies and illegal activity and all this stuff being exposed because of this Sony hacker. So, it's just such a cacophony of stuff going on, okay? But really, out of all that white noise that we're getting about this Sony hacker, some people, of course, some people, wow, great, we love, hackers are great. They expose companies for their evil, the evil corporations of the world and the stuff that they do, blah, blah, blah. But unfortunately, it's not that simple this time around. It's not some malicious guy just trying to be a dick to stick it to the man or whatever. From what the FBI is saying, they have pinpointed the source of the hacking attack. The hacking attack was North Korea. And for those of you who aren't aware, the person who did the Sony hack and took credit for it, saying, yes, I am from North Korea, and I am a terrorist, And the reason that I did it is because of the movie The Interview. That's right, the new Seth Rogen, James Franco comedy duo movie, where the hypothetical in the movie was that a talk show host and I guess his producer or whatever are going to North Korea because they've been chosen to interview Kim Jong-un, the dictatorial ruler of North Korea. For those of you who don't know, North Korea is one of the few places in the world that is still a dictatorship. It is still, you know, an iron fist style government. The people are kind of oppressed there and forced to do what the government tells them. There's no democracy or anything there. And basically this movie about the possible assassination of Kim Jong-un, they're all in uproar about it. Even Kim Jong-un himself, fuck the Western world. How dare they make a movie like this? This isn't funny, blah, blah, blah. And this hacker who apparently lives in North Korea said, I am serious, like, this is why I'm hacking Sony, because they made this movie, and it's incredibly offensive and disrespectful, so we're going to, you know, hack all that shit. Well, apparently, the effect of the hack wasn't enough, because Sony was saying, well, it's controversial, big deal, you know, the movie's still coming out on Christmas Day. So this hacker, now apparently, we don't know if it's the real hacker or not, all right? But apparently, as there's been a terrorist threat made against the United States saying that any movie theaters who show the movie, The Interview, are now at risk, that people will be killed, and that basically you better not show that fucking movie or else all hell's gonna break loose, all right? And this week, I would say, I don't even want to say unfortunately or anything like that, I just want to say it happened. Sony Pictures has kowtowed, however you say the word, basically bent over and said, okay, we give up. We are not going to release the movie. Yeah, Sony Pictures has officially made the announcement. The movie is officially canceled. The Interview will not be released in movie theaters. From what I read online, which it could be wrong, but I read in an article, it's not going to go out on any DVD or on-demand release. The movie is basically going to go into the archives of the forbidden. It's like the fucking Scarlet Letter or what was it, Fahrenheit 9/11, where we're burning books and we're hiding things now because there was a terrorist threat about this movie. Now, I have many things to say on this subject. The first thing I have to say on this subject is this. First, you would say this is preposterous, right? It's a movie. It's a fictional work. It's not meant to be something that's serious. You can tell it's titled as a comedy, right? Who knows? Has anyone even seen the movie yet? We don't even know if during the movie, if Kim Jong-un dies. It could be one of these fool you movies where they go out there, right? And they're trying to assassinate him. By the end of the movie, they befriend him or whatever, and then it's a funny ending or something. We don't even know how the movie goes. So it's censorship in the biggest way possible. It's pure, knee-jerk censorship without any kind of credit. Like, how do we know that this hacker has any kind of power to do anything in the United States in regards to movie theaters? How do we know that there would actually be something that would happen in movie theaters if this movie were released, right? We don't. We really don't. And it really is kind of a situation where the bottom line is with terrorism, all right? Terrorists' goal is not to kill, to maim, or to hurt. A terrorist's goal, ultimately, is to use those means, the terror, to change the world and to change your life and to change the way that you live. So the terrorists could care less if people die, if accounts are hacked, if banks go under, if the world goes into anarchy, as long as whatever their ultimate means happens. So the terrorists have won in this situation because the goal here was, we don't want this movie to be released because it's offensive to us. Okay? They won. So Sony and whatever, whether it was the bigwigs, I don't know if the government was involved with talks with Sony about the whole situation and said collectively, let's decide that the risk is too great. But basically, the movie will not be released. And for what everyone's saying, it's basically now blacklisted. The movie will never happen, ever. Now, I have to say, well, how is that fair to Seth Rogen, to James Franco, to anyone involved in this movie who probably worked on this movie for years and were promised reciprocals on this movie? Anyone who put money into the movie, it's not their fault, right? How is it their fault? And now they're going to be punished for this, okay? How is it fair to Sony Pictures, who probably didn't think that there would be this kind of an issue, and now they're actually put in a position, put into a position where we can do one of two things. We can choose to ignore any of these threats and put out this movie for the sake of entertainment and then basically be called money grubbers, and the only reason you're doing it and risking human lives is because of money. Or you could choose not to put out the movie and then be called a coward and say, well, you let the terrorists win. It's like a lose-lose for Sony. I can see from the corporate perspective, this is a fucking lose-lose. And really, when it comes down to it, is the management of the company probably sat there in a boardroom like, this is the most important decision we're ever going to make. And ultimately, in our case, we want to err on the side of human lives. And we want to err on the side that if the movie isn't released, there's no chance that anyone's going to be hurt because of the movie, so fuck the movie. It's not that important. So, it is what it is. It's done. It's set in stone. Now, I also have to say from two different perspectives. I agree with Sony that if you ultimately, does the movie matter more than human lives? No, it doesn't. It's a fucking comedy movie that in a year everyone's gonna fucking forget about anyway. Let's face it. Team America World Police is probably the next most controversial movie ever made, right? It was about Kim Jong-il, Kim Jong-un's now deceased father, who this puppet team of anti-terrorists from America were going over to kill terrorists and fight Kim Jong-un and all that shit. And it was very disrespectful to Kim Jong-un. I'm sorry, Kim Jong-il, excuse me. And, Kim Jong-il also put up a stink about that, but there was no hacking involved at the time. So, I understand why Sony would make the decision. At the same time, this is a huge blow to freedom of speech. Absolutely it is. Because now you're saying, well, you can never say what you want to say because God forbid that someone across the world who sits in front of a computer and has some kind of a know-how in hacking could do something, and now you have to make this insane moral decision on whether or not you should continue to do what you do or say what you say or whatever. And this is the first time, really, when you think about it, at least in the public eye, that you can say, here's a company that 100% gave into it, right? And really, the extent, when you really hear this, what I have to think is that the hacking is worse than we even know. That the hacking at Sony is so internally serious that this company is fucked. Like, fucked beyond belief. Like major secrets, trade secrets maybe have been revealed from Sony, things, illegal activities that they didn't want to be out there, to the point where, like, we don't want to piss these people off anymore because we're already fucked. They could literally put the whole company out of business. That's the only thing that I can really think of. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think that Sony really decided that human lives were the deal here. I don't. I don't think that they think that those threats were credible. I think that they thought the hacking threat was credible. So really, what is the real situation behind it? I don't know. I don't know, okay? But there's some other things that I can say. And I'm gonna just throw ideas out there. I'm not saying that I agree or disagree with them, but you guys, you in your own minds, you think about this for yourself and you have to judge. Morality-wise, was it a good idea to make a movie about assassinating a real world leader who's alive? All right? I just want to throw that out there. Was it a good idea to make a movie where the world leader was a real person, is still alive, is a controversial figure, we know the guy is a hothead? It doesn't... I mean, Seth Rogen and James Franco, should they be censored and not able to do that? No, but don't you think that maybe it might have been in a little bit of bad taste and not very smart to make that movie? You could have easily made a movie about someone that's a parody, okay? A parody of that world leader. Not exactly that person, with a few different changes that makes them different, but you can kind of get the hint that that's the world leader that they're alluding to. And not saying that it's North Korea definitively. You know what I mean? I can understand that. Now, no one's to say that if they made that, oh, it's North Jabria and it's Junjangbung, you know, even if they did that, who's to say that that North Korea and Kim Jong-un still wouldn't have gone nuts, right? And the hacker still wouldn't have done it. You can't say for sure. This is all second guessing. This is all armchair quarterbacking. But does it make sense to make a movie about that? You know what I mean? And is it funny? Some people would probably say, yeah, that's a hilarious premise. And other people would say that's not funny. To kill anyone, the murder of someone, regardless of the fact that they're a real vile piece of crap, doesn't mean that it's funny. So there's probably a whole morality issue around this. Another thing that got me this movie was going to be released on Christmas Day. So let me get this straight. On one of the biggest religious holidays on the planet, especially for all Christians who all celebrate, the birth of Christ on Christmas Day. Their supposed Lord and Savior, right? This is their central focus of their religion, pretty much. You're going to have everyone go see a movie where you're assassinating a world leader. You know what I mean? So the thing that I see all these different things bouncing around in my head. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there's fault on the part of Seth Rogen and James Franco maybe taking it a little too far. I'm not saying that they didn't have the right to do that and that it's not funny. I'm saying that maybe you have to err on the side of caution a few times and you have to really hold yourself back a little bit with self-restraint when it comes to entertainment because of crazy shit like this. Who knows what nut job is going to take what you're doing as some kind of a fucking extremist thing and then do something stupid like this Sony hack, right? I can see both sides of it with Sony and why they did what they're doing, but also why you might want to see the other side. I can see why people are angry at the situation for multiple reasons. This is kind of one of those definitive gray areas where it's like, who knows who's in the right and who's in the wrong? Everyone's going to have a different perspective. But ultimately, this is a historical moment. By far, this is a historical moment because it's one of the very few times in history where there's been no bloodshed, right? No mass loss of life and or terror, no violence whatsoever that's actually happened. It was a purely digital attack that has led to a definitive change and decision in big business. And the question is this the beginning of a series of attacks? Because now that people have seen, now that these people out there that have this kind of hacking power have seen the impact that they can have, what's to stop them from doing it on something else? Right? What's to stop someone, in another country who's offended at America or any other country from hacking the shit out of a major corporation in that country and telling them to stop a certain practice? Who's to stop someone who doesn't support, I'm just trying to think, let's think of one of the most divisive things in America right now. Abortions. Oh my God, abortions, insanely divisive. You've got one group of people that are 100% for it, one group of people that are 100% against it. You've got people in the middle, you've got people up and down all over the place. Abortions have always been a hot topic in America. Is it good or is it bad? I'm not going to say any way, shape, or form, in my opinion, because that has no bearing on the situation. But what's to stop a hacker from going into the bank's resources, the banks who finance all of the abortion clinics in a certain state, hacking the fuck out of the bank, taking millions of dollars out of their account and saying, unless you stop supporting abortion clinics with your financing and financing them so that they can pay their mortgages, we're going to just keep hacking you. To which now the bank kowtows and says, well, we got to operate our business, so from now on, no loans for abortion clinics, and then the abortion clinics can't get financed, they can't find money to pay their mortgages or get a mortgage to have the buildings, and they all go out of business. What's to stop politically motivated hackers from doing things like this in the future? This could be a big flip, okay? And it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, the situation right now. And it's like I said, it is world history. This by far is a moment in world history, and I'm interested to see what happens with it because it could go any way. It could go any way right now. Are we gonna let this kind of thing happen over and over and over with hackers, right? So, but anyway, I digress. That was the situation. I wanted to let everyone know what's going on right now. The interview has been canceled. I mean, if you didn't pay attention to Twitter or the internet for 2 days, you'd be like, what? Yeah, the interview is completely done. The movie is canned, even though it's done and ready for release, and they had release parties and everything planned. They were all canceled. The movie's done because of these hackers. Holy shit. Okay. The next topic, and this one I have to mention because it is huge world news. It's bigger than the hacker topic, but I am not well versed on the situation. All right? I'll be honest. All I know is a few articles that I've read, a few horrific pictures that I've seen, thousands of really, really just messed up tweets. And I have to say that, yeah, my heart, and I hope that everyone, regardless of where you live in the world, I hope that our heart goes out to the some over 100 people, including, I believe it's over 100 small children who lost their lives in the Pakistan massacre a couple days ago. A horrific terrorist attack. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. In fact, I can't even wear this hat when I talk about this because there's nothing festive whatsoever to even talk about the horrendous mass taking of innocent life, you know. And if anything, you know, in life, if you disagree with someone ideologically or whatever, to just kill innocent kids like what we just saw is her fucking just unacceptable and horrific. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what your ideology is. Anyone who thinks that the mass killing of innocent children is an acceptable means to an end, I don't consider you a human anymore. You're not. I'm sorry, I'm choking up. Because it's just so fucked up. The stuff that I saw, the pictures that are out there of what happened, I obviously didn't want to see. And it really does disturb me because it's such a fucked up situation. And I really, you just, a human, as a human, you know, I have no real connection. I have no connection to the Middle East or to Pakistan or to any of the stuff that goes on over in that part of the world with the Taliban and all that stuff. But just see it and see how horrible it is. You know, you just absolutely, yeah, your heart has to go out and you have to say, we have to stop this shit. I don't care. I don't care if there's disagreements about religion and there's disagreements about politics and there's disagreement. It's awful. And it's something that, unfortunately, the world news is sweeping under the rug. Outside of those areas of the world where this is a heavy impact thing, it was like a quick news story, and then people, oh, well, it's Christmas now. It's Christmas. Time to talk about Christmas. And, you know, no. You shouldn't be brushing it under the rug and saying that it's not something important. I think that, unfortunately, that's something that at least American media does a lot. Oh, 9/11, or even just a couple years ago, Sandy Hook, right? The massacre at Sandy Hook, that was the biggest news, and you heard about that for 6 months, but this one, just because it happened in Pakistan, we hear it for one day, and now it's out of the news already. And, you know, it's just, it's, I really can't even give an honest reaction or feeling besides just horror, sadness, overwhelming sadness, and I it's just one of those things that leaves you speechless, you know? And there's nothing that I could say to make it better. There's nothing that I could possibly say to make anyone feel better about it. And you shouldn't. Because words can't make a situation like this better. It's horrendous. It's disgusting. It's vile. It's appalling that it can happen. That innocent children like that could happen to them. And again, 2 years ago in Sandy Hook, so close to home back in Connecticut, where it just happened to people real near to me. And now the same kind of thing happening in another part of the world is just, it's fucked. It's a fucked up world we live in. And what I can say is at least understand, as much as we become ingrained in our own lives on a daily basis, all right? As much as we become hyper-focused on our own thing, you know what I mean? And, you know, it's easy to put the blinders on and say, well, today I'm going to wake up and I got to eat breakfast and I got to go to school and I got to do this and this and this. Don't ever lose sight of the world view, all right? You need to know what's going on around you, and you need to make sure that in your life, when you can have positive impact, when you can help people, when you can make people safe, that you can do it. Because you never know in this fucked up, unsafe world when stuff like this can happen. And not to say that there's anything that you can do to stop it, but at least cherish every moment that you have. You know what I mean? And do what's right. Do what's right for you in here. Okay? Not what someone tells you is right, not what this religious belief over here tells you what's right, and what this pundit of politics up here tells you what's right, and this moral leader down here is right. What you feel in here is right. Okay? Because unfortunately, I get the feeling that a lot of people get distracted by all that other shit, all that white noise. Or they put the blinders on, and then when something like this happens, it's like, you know, you just gotta be aware of everything and do what you can to be a good person, and just be careful, because it's a disgusting, vile thing that these things have. And now, in how many years? In 2 years, every year we're gonna have one of these slaughterings now around Christmas. What the fuck? It's disgusting. And again, I don't care the fact that this is the other side of the world and I have no connection to those people. I'm a human. And I have a connection to them, and I feel it. When I see those fucking pictures, I vomit it. I did. Yesterday, I threw up. When I saw some of the pictures on Twitter that they were showing, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, this is one of the most vile, disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. And I had to. Even regardless of the fact that I really don't have anything to add to it, I am no kind of a moral leader, or I had to talk about it. Because for me to ignore it would be a disservice to those who passed away. Okay? Alright. So now let's put the hat back on. All right, let's put the hat back on. Now that that's out of the way, rest in peace. And you know, obviously my thoughts go out to the families. And let's end this on a high note. All right, let's end this podcast on a high note. I know we're going long this week. That's fine. Let's end this podcast on a high note. Let's get a little bit more festive, okay? It is the Christmas time. It is the Christmas season. And what I would like to do is talk to you about a few of the Christmas traditions that we have here in the United States that you probably know about. I would like to talk to you about some Christmas traditions in the United States that really aren't as popular, but may still be kind of commonplace in some places. And then what I'm going to do is talk about worldwide Christmas traditions, some of which I've never heard of, and I'm sure when you hear them, they're going to be like, what? And some of them are going to give you a chuckle because they're just so wild. Okay. So, of course, the one other thing that people in the stream chat just mentioned that I should mention, there is going to be a semi-lifted embargo on Cuba. It's not a full-fledged embargo. Americans still cannot go there, but we'll be able to start doing trade with them at limited capacity, and apparently the banned Cuban cigars are coming back. That was like the smallest story this week, in my opinion. All right, so now let's talk about Christmas traditions. First of all, in America, we have several Christmas traditions. Or I say America, I should say the United States, because America includes North America, South America, all that. Just in the United States, we have several Christmas traditions. One of which is obviously the Christmas tree. The tree that we put up traditionally any time between Thanksgiving and Christmas. The most traditional time to do it is actually just a few days, if not the day before Christmas on Christmas Eve. Now, trimming the tree is also an American tradition that's varied, meaning you could put ornaments on a tree. I've seen people do like fruit and holly on a tree. I've seen people do these strands of popcorn on strings on a tree. I've seen all kinds of different ways that you can decorate a tree. Garland, here we actually did tinsel garland on our tree. The topping of the tree, what goes on top of the tree, also traditionally has been very different. Traditionally, it was supposed to be a star that would actually represent the Christmas star. Supposedly the star that in the New Testament of the Bible, this is the star that led the three kings to find the baby Jesus when he was born. This star has told us that the baby Jesus has been born, so they went out looking for him. So that's traditionally the star at the top of the tree, but I've seen variations of it as angels and things like that. It's kind of weird because now the top of the Christmas tree in America, I don't even know if people even put a topper on it anymore, because I go to the store and I almost never see anything. So I get the feeling that it's kind of gone out of style to put something at the very top of the tree, that maybe you leave that bare and you focus on the actual decoration around the trees, okay? Obviously, there's different things when it comes to food and drink. Eggnog is a big one in the United States, which is basically an egg and cream-based drink that has some spicing in it. You get virgin eggnog, which is basically just the drink with no alcohol, or there's an alcoholic version that I guess was the more traditional version that you would drink around the holidays. When it comes to, Christmas dinner, there's two schools of thought. There's actually one school of thought that's more like almost Thanksgiving, where it's like turkey. You need to have the Christmas turkey with all the trimmings, the stuffing, and everything. I've never been in that school. I've always been the Christmas ham. And if you actually watch things like Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas and other similar holiday things like that, there's always a roast beast or roast beef or ham or some kind of a large roast that you cook at Christmas. I'm not sure what is actually the traditional thing. I don't know. Overall, is there a consensus? That'd be interesting to hear your comments if you do live in the United States and hear what is your traditional Christmas meal, Christmas beverage, and what do you do for your Christmas tree? Okay. Outside of that, obviously, you know, Christmas caroling, there's all the traditional things that are very commonplace. And I don't want to get too far into the American traditions, because I get the feeling that a big chunk of my viewing audience is in the United States of America. What I want to talk about is some of the wild stuff that you can find about on the internet. And these are true. It's not made up stuff. This is stuff that people celebrate around the world for Christmas, all right? Let's start with one of the wildest ones. In South Africa, there's a delicacy that they eat on Christmas Day. Oh, you said, oh, what could it be? Would it be delicious candies and marshmallows? Maybe a nice roast like we had mentioned, or maybe something even so crazy, a vegetable or something. They love their delicious deep-fried caterpillars of the emperor moth. That is the Christmas Day delicacy in South Africa. Now here's the thing. A lot of places around the world are not, by any means, freaked out by bugs. In fact, a lot of places in the world, bugs are like actually a legitimate food source. But for those of us who don't, you know what I mean? It seems weird. However, it's hilarious because to find out that in most of our processed foods, there are bugs. And most people eat like thousands of bugs a year in all the food that they eat. They just don't see the bugs that they're eating because they've been processed into the food. So I'm not going to stand here and say, oh, that sounds gross. It might be delicious, or it might be delicious to them. It's just something that I obviously would not like to do. In Austria, a lot of people might have heard of this one. This is one of the most wild ones. Have you heard of the Christmas Krampus? Yes, you've heard of Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Krampus. Wait a minute. Krampus? Krampus is the Christmas devil. He looks like a goat-faced monster with giant devil-like horns, and it says that he beats naughty children with the branches of trees. What the fuck? Like, how the hell did that get into a Christmas tradition? Like, whoa, the Krampus is going to come whoop your ass with a tree branch. You better watch out. He sees you when you're sleeping. He beats your naked ass. Really freaking weird. In Catalonia, ladies and gentlemen, in Catalonia, they have a nativity. Now, you may not know what the nativity is, especially if you're not a Christian. A classic nativity scene is a manger, which is a big, like, barn house stable, okay, stable house, with a little wooden, almost like a wooden baby bed. What do they call that? Like a rocking bed? Fuck, I can't think of the name of it now. Not a baby carriage, you know what I mean? Where you put your baby in to sleep. I'm an idiot. I'm totally brain farting right now. But it's made of wood with hay. Apparently this is traditionally how the baby Jesus was born. They were so poor and no hotel, no inn had room for them. They had to stay like out in a stable, and the Virgin Mary gave birth in a manger. That's the nativity scene. It's supposed to be like the Virgin Mary, Joseph, her husband, who supposedly didn't knock her up, and that's how it's the Immaculate Conception. I'm not going to get into that. The baby Jesus in the manger, animals and shepherds who were there to do their job. They're like, what the hell are they doing in our manger giving birth? The three kings who supposedly followed the Christmas star. And in Catalonia, they've got what's called the Kaganer, which is a small figure of a defecating man. So all this is going on. There's supposedly the child of God, the Son of God is being born to the Immaculate Conception. These kings have followed a star to them. Everyone's in reverence. And some dude has his pants down in the corner squatting and taking a dump. Like, what? And then it goes even further than that. Even further than that. Apparently now it's become like pop culture in Catalonia to make this figurine the face of someone famous. So they actually have, like, Obama with his fucking pants down, right? Obama taking a dump, or, like, you know, Kim Kardashian squatting and shitting in the corner. And these are actually, yeah, you can buy those and put them in your nativity, and it's perfectly accepted in Catalonia. It's like, what the hell? Okay. In Norway, oops, sorry, my laptop's skipping here. In Norway, there's no cleaning allowed on Christmas Eve, which is actually a cultural thing, is that all the brooms and cleaning supplies that you have in your house, you need to hide them, because traditionally witches and evil spirits could steal them. What? It seems like someone made that shit up. Like, someone had, like, a wife who was, like, one of these real stickler clean wives, so they just clean everything, and then he just made shit up on it. No, there's witches that are gonna steal our stuff if you don't hide the broom, so fucking put them in the closet and lock the door. We're not cleaning today. Japan. This is a weird one. When I read this one, I was like, what? Pretty wild. In Japan, in 1974, I know you're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you unless you live in Japan and you know about it. Kentucky Fried Chicken launched one of the most successful ad campaigns in human history. They blitzed the living shit out of the country of Japan, saying, come to KFC for Christmas Eve dinner. We will be open, unlike a lot of other places. Since 1974, it has now become a cultural tradition that if you live in Japan, you go to KFC on Christmas Eve, and apparently every KFC has lines out the fucking door. Kentucky Fried Chicken has lines out the door in Japan, but not in America where it's happened. In the United States, no one gives a fuck. We hate KFC. Out there, they love it on Christmas Eve. What? Like, how did that happen? That must have been one hell of an advertisement campaign. Seriously. Venezuela. In Venezuela, there's a mass to celebrate Christmas. Like, it's supposed to be like the day before Christmas or whatever. However, there's a weird tradition to go to that mass, you know, that celebration of religion on Christmas Day. People roller skate to it. So what actually happens, apparently, is these streets are cleared of vehicles and cars and anything, and the whole country of Venezuela roller skates to and from church to go to Mass that day. Okay. That's not too bad. That's actually kind of a neat one, I think, if you know how to roller skate at least. Let's see here. We already know about the Christmas pickle from Leanna. Leanna's family is German, and they always had the tradition of the Christmas pickle ornament, or hide a pickle in the Christmas tree, but we have a Christmas pickle ornament that we put in our tree. We're not putting a real tree in there. Let's see here. There's some good ones. I'm skipping a few of these because a few of these aren't very good. Here we go. This is a weird one. In the Ukraine. Of course, the Ukraine, right? The Ukraine. A traditional Christmas decoration is spider webs and artificial spiders. So, you know, the Christmas snowman, a little Santa Claus here, a little ornament, you know, an angel. The Christmas tarantula. Ooh, let's just cover the tree in fucking spiders and spider webs. It's like so weird, but apparently it somehow became a cultural tradition. Imagine that, the spider tree. You know what? I know how that tradition got started, because someone went out and got a real Christmas tree, brought it in their house, didn't realize that it was infested with spiders, and the next day they were like, it's decorated. Okay, then. Let's see here. In Estonia, apparently on Christmas Eve, the whole family heads to the sauna together. I thumbs up that tradition. I'd love to go to the sauna once a year for Christmas. That's cool. In Wales, Mary Lwyd is performed in some Welsh villages on Christmas Eve. A villager is chosen to parade through the streets wearing the skull of a mare on the end of a stick. If you don't know, a mare would be a female horse. So, the skull of a female horse on a stick. How festive! This dead horse is coming to town. Oh, boy. Oh, my God. Some of these are wild. Great Britain has this one about Christmas pudding, right? It says, an age-old tradition dictates that each member of the family must stir the Christmas pudding mix in a clockwise direction before it's cooked, making a wish as they do so. And it's probably just a cultural kind of, a meal kind of a deal. I could see that becoming a tradition. Oh boy, in Italy, guess what? Some people, admittedly, let's admit this, everyone. Let's fess up here, all right? Let's fess up. Santa's a little bit creepy, all right? Santa's just a little bit creepy. He's supposed to be this old guy that he can see when you're sleeping. He comes and eats your cookies. He, like, sneaks up on you. He keeps track of you all year if you've been bad or good. That's like, I call that a creeper or a pedophile. Like, that guy's a weirdo. Santa, and some people can really see him as a kind of a weird character, all right? Not as festive and jolly as a lot of people think. But in Italy, they don't have Santa. They decided they're going to go a lot more family-friendly and PG in Italy, okay? They want to make sure that everyone is safe in their beds. All the children, you know, are nice snug and they don't have some old creeper looking at them. In Italy, rather than Santa Claus, they have the arrival of Befana the Friendly Witch, who delivers sweets and toys on the 5th of January. So instead of Santa Claus coming on the 25th of December, this creepy old fucking witch feeds your kids candy on the 5th of January. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, then. Oh, my goodness. In Latvia, this is a weird one. They have what's called a group of mummers. If you don't know what that is, it's people who dress in costume. And it's a variety of costumes. Some of them are like big, almost like paper mache animal heads. Others are like weird creatures. And they go from house to house, giving treats in return for a blessing. It kind of sounds like trick-or-treating to me, right? Although I guess in this case, they do it a little differently, and they do it on Christmas, which is kind of weird. What else here? Let's see. Where's that? Oh, that one that I wanted to do. I'm trying to find it here. There was a real... Oh, my God. This is a great one. This is a great one. So, as you guys know, another Christmas tradition is actually called the 12 Days of Christmas. It's during a 12-day period leading up to Christmas where supposedly people will exchange gifts, or every day you get one gift. Remember the big song on the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a bird in a tree that shot everywhere. Something like that, you know. Well, in Greece, they actually do celebrate the 12 days of Christmas. However, in Greece, the 12 days of Christmas symbolize the time of the year when the Calicants Zeroi, a race of evil demon goblins, lurk underground and come to the surface to wreak havoc on the human race. What? I thought that Christmas was supposed to be like a festive, positive time of good feeling and cheer. Now we got fucking witches coming after us, and the fucking Krampus is trying to kill us and whip our asses with branches, and evil fucking demon goblins? What is happening here? Like, how did I not know about this? Alright, what else? There's got to be a few more to end this up here. Let's see here. Let's see. In Finland, they light candles for the dead. That's kind of a traditional thing. We actually used to do that in the United States at Catholic church, because I grew up Catholic. For those who don't know, I was raised Catholic. And on Christmas Eve, you would go to midnight mass, and you would actually light candles in like memory of the dead. So, let's see. I think we're running down here. It looks like actually the tradition of the Christmas stocking started in England. I did not know that. But the Christmas stocking, you know, it's a big booty kind of a stocking that never would fit anyone's real foot because it's huge, actually started in England. And it says, you know, good behaving children would find their stocking filled with either candy or presents by Santa Claus on Christmas morning. But if you were a bad child, you would get the coal. I didn't know that originated in England. I thought that was a thing from the United States, but I guess not. Oh my God, is this for real? Alright, you guys got to hear this one. What the hell? You've got to hear this one. In South Africa, another South African one. This is the second one for South. So not only are they eating delicious emperor moth caterpillars on Christmas Day, okay? South African children are told the story of Danny, a young boy who angered his grandmother by eating cookies that had been left for Santa. So what was Danny's punishment? Was it a big vicious spanking? Was it a lump of coal in his stocking like we just discussed? Did the Krampus come and whip his ass with the branch? No. His grandmother killed him. What? He ate Santa's cookies and his grandmother fucking killed him. What the fuck? And the story is that Danny haunts people's homes on Christmas. Oh, no. I gotta keep my kids away from the internet. If I ever have kids, they can't know about this shit. Are you kidding me? If you eat Santa's cookies, we're gonna kill you and you're gonna be haunted by Danny's ghost? What the fuck? What? Seriously, that is just out of control, man. That. All right, and the last one, this is a new one. This one has actually just started in the United States recently, okay? Each Christmas now, there's a new tradition where it's called the Running of the Santas. Basically, dudes and women and dress up like Santa Claus. They run bar hopping from bar to bar, getting drunk, or I actually call it an inn or a tavern for those of you who don't call them bars. Basically a place where they sell liquor, drinking and boozing it up on Christmas Eve, doing like a bar run, a bar crawl, and then they pass out, and the next day they wake up all hungover for Christmas. I personally have not partaken in that one. I probably would not want to, because I would like to actually wake up somewhere safe for Christmas and not be completely naked, surrounded by a bunch of dudes who we all did something we regretted last night, you know what I mean? But I could see there could be some regret on Christmas morning. So, no matter how you celebrate the holiday, if you even do celebrate the holiday, I don't know if you celebrate the holiday or not, I would like to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, no matter what it is that you celebrate. It could be Kwanzaa, it could be Hanukkah, it could be one bajillion holidays that I am not culturally educated on, and therefore please do not be offended if I didn't mention your holiday, because I'm just uneducated in that regard, and it's my loss, not yours, right? I hope everyone has a happy and healthy Christmas. I hope that you get everything that you want, if that's the kind of thing you culturally believe in. I hope that you have a good celebration. I hope that at least you get to spend some time with your friends and family. Or at the very least, hey, get some good gaming sessions in, relax, don't have to worry about things for a few days. Because ultimately, I can tell you this, the one thing about me and my life that has changed since I became an adult is that I really don't have a time to relax anymore. I'm always worried about the next thing around the corner, the next bill that's coming, the next challenge that's going to come on YouTube or the internet, and the next thing, right? Take Christmas as an opportunity to say, I have a day I can just say, fuck it all, time to relax, whether it's a religious holiday for you. For some people it is, some people it's not. Take the time to have a good time and to cherish those people that you hold dear, those things that you care about the most, and just spread positivity that day. I think that's the best advice that I can really give anyone. I hope that no matter, again, where you live or how you celebrate, that you do it safely and you have a good time. Thanks, everyone, for watching the Hate Live Holiday Special. It's been a 2.5-hour extravaganza, the longest Hate Live, I believe, that I've ever done. I will not have a Hate Live next week, simply because, guess what? That's right. It's going to be the holiday celebration for me. It'll be Christmas for me. But I will return probably in a little over 2 weeks, meaning I'm probably not going to do one. Well, you know what? I may do one New Year's Day. I may actually do a New Year's Day edition of Hate Live and talk all about the new stuff going on in 2015 and all the positivity and stuff. It could be great. So thanks very much, everybody, for watching Hate Live. Merry Christmas. Happy Holidays. If you have a chance to check out myself and my content over the next week, great. If not, enjoy yourself, because when we come back after this semi-break that I'm having next week, we're going to be going full force into the game playthroughs that I've been doing all along. There's new content coming next year. There's fun new vlogging and stuff. It's going to be great, and I can't wait for it. But thanks so much for your support. This is the time of year when I get to feel so great and happy about stuff. And I love the feeling, and thanks a lot, everyone, for supporting that, okay? That's it, everyone. For Hate Live, I'm DSP. Peace out. You have a good night. Merry Christmas, and to all, a good night. Until next time, be safe. I'll see you later.